We've always heard spare the rod, spoil the child. Turns out the opposite may be true. A new study in the journal Pediatrics suggests that spanking and other forms of corporal punishment could lead to aggressive behavior from the kids. Parenting expert and radio host Cooper Lawrence is here with some details on that. Good morning.
Good morning.
I remember as a kid there was this paddle, this wooden paddle that was kept at hand all the time and was used with some degree of regularity in our household. Were you spanked?
Oh, I was spanked all the time. I was a terrible kid, but look, we turned out okay. Here we are, right?
Well, I don't know. You could ask my psychiatrist. This is a trend of the last 50 years or so. This whole thing that corporal punishment is bad in every way, shape, or form. You do a radio show. What was the feedback like?
Yeah, we talked about this on my
night?
radio show last night, and I have millions of listeners. I got a lot of calls, and a school psychologist called, and she said, some kids are just aggressive, and she knows kids that were not hit as children, that she's known for 20 years, that she said they're just aggressive children.
Interesting.
And that's the important part of the study. There are certain children that are born with aggressive tendencies.
Okay, well, let's look at the study, because it's 2,500 mothers, and this thing tracked over a pretty considerable amount of time. Right. Is it a real study, and what are the specifics here?
Okay, so they had
46% no spanking whatsoever.
No spanking at all. Then they had a percentage of women, 28%, that had spanked the children 1 to 2 times in the last month.
Oh, okay.
And then 26% that said they spanked 2 or more times in the last month.
And what did they learn about the kids as a result of the spanking?
Well, here's what's important about this study.
All right.
They controlled for moms who were maybe alcoholics or depressed or who were already in an aggressive environment.
Right.
That's what's new about this study. And they found that those moms, that there was nothing else going on but spanking, caused aggressive children.
Wow.
That by the time the child was 5, they were aggressive, they were bullies, they were bullying siblings, they were bullying fellow students.
Right.
But the caution is, so if you have a child that's aggressive, yes, you are encouraging their aggressive tendencies.
Sure.
But if you have a child that's aggressive, they're going to be aggressive.
They're going to be aggressive anyway, yeah, all right. And you have some ideas about alternative kinds of behavior modification, as it were, as opposed to using spanking. Let's go through some of them.
Okay.
You
can't reason with a 3-year-old. I mean, you can try, but they don't. Their brain has not developed yet to understand consequences of reasoning. But the consequences they do understand is you can't watch your television show, you can't play with your favorite toy, you can't see your favorite friend. Those consequences make more sense to a 3-year-old. So if you don't want to spank, that's another alternative.
And sometimes trying to really reinforce the positive behavior. How well does that work?
That's important. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna punish the negative behavior, you've got to encourage the positive behavior. And for some kids, positive reinforcement much more effective.
How about timeouts? Do timeouts work?
Timeouts work only if you explain why you're giving a timeout. If you're just sitting on a step and you're going, why am I on this step? It's not going to have any effect whatsoever.
I'm in a timeout.
Exactly.
I'm in a timeout.
But you say to the child, here's why you're in a timeout, because you pulled the dog's ear. We don't want you to do that. That's why you're sitting here.
And you have to enforce the timeout.
Absolutely.
You actually have to.
Yeah, exactly. The consequence is very important. You can't say, I'm giving you a timeout.
24 hours is probably too long.
Well, it depends on the child.
I'm just, all right. You also say parents, though, should, as their tempers are starting to go up, they're the ones who probably ought to be thinking about taking a time out.
Absolutely. If you have a vulnerable child and you're an aggressive adult, that's not a very good match.
Yeah.
So you've got to say to yourself, I'm the one that needs the timeout. I need to breathe, calm down before I react to my child's bad behavior.
All right, Cooper Lawrence, thanks so much.
Thank you.
A lot happens early on The Early Show, weekday mornings on CBS.